All right, it is 2025, almost halfway through the year. Haven't done one of these in about a year and a half, so I thought I'd give an update on the man cave, game room, kind of den hangout area. I like these videos, so hopefully other people like these too. I'm gonna give you a quick tour of what we've got going on here. So this is my basement, um, pretty big space. I'll give you a quick walk around. So yeah, first when you come in, there's a couple guns on the wall. Top one is a 1939 Mosin Nagant, and the bottom one is a 1943 M1 Garand, mostly serial matching. So good chance that those were used either in the Pacific or in Europe. Um, yeah, I like historical firearms. Glad to have those in my collection. Continuing down, I have some medals and awards. I'm not going to go through those. Have a foosball table. Honestly, doesn't get too much use. I'm thinking about getting rid of it or at least moving it out to our pole barn. Yeah, just takes up a lot of space. Continuing down, small desk. That's my PS5, my launch edition PS5. I'll discuss that a little bit further, but some guitars. I do play guitar, play drums, play piano. So we do like music in this household. And then this is a new addition from last year. I've been really collecting some Lego sets. I've been trying to buy all the 1990s Episode 1 Lego sets. I'm pretty old, and these were out when I was a kid, so really like these. I have put a number of them together, but buying them complete in box. And there's a couple behind here. This one's actually still sealed. And then these are all of my childhood Lego figures. I've had these since the 90s. This is probably about 2/3 of my collection. Over the years, a few of them have gotten lost, but yeah, this is kind of what's survived almost 35 years. I'm happy to still have a lot of those. And then I did get the Barad-dûr set. We'll see that later, but here's all the minifigures. Really cool. I will say I do miss the Lego figures just being yellow. I don't know why they had to go to flesh tones. It was kind of a, I don't know. I like the Lego set, or the yellow system. And then here's my Star Wars figures. These are from recent sets that I put together. Mostly from the Dark Falcon and then the Coruscant gunship. And then I haven't put these together, but I have the Seinfeld set. My wife and I need to put that together. And we did do the Friends set a couple years ago. So big fan of Legos. Getting more into it as I get older. Just something fun to do. Coming around the side here, this is where I work. I do work from home. I'm an IT project manager in software development, so got a couple engineering teams that work for me, and we build custom software. This is where I do most of my work. And then I do have a gaming PC down here. It's kind of out of date. It's getting about 8 years old now. Probably need to refresh that, but honestly, for the games I play, like Rocket League and Overwatch and a lot of the multiplayer games, it's been working fine. I do have a splitter. I don't know if you can see that, but keyboard and mouse splitter essentially turns the keyboard and mouse between my work computer and then my gaming PC. And then I just have the monitors hooked up so I can switch between the two PCs whenever I want. Some headphones, a little Native Instruments keyboard. And we'll move on to the shelves here. So I collect all consoles complete in box. So everything you see console-wise is complete in box. Series X, I did get the Baldur's Gate 3 physical. I'm a big physical media guy. Old Atari in box, PlayStation, and a Genesis. And then, yeah, the Batcave, some CDs, and my childhood Batman. I've had all of these with the exception of the Parachute Batman since I was a kid. big fan of the animated series when I was little. I always wanted this Parachute Batman. I remember looking at it at Walmart, probably in 95, 96, and I could never afford it. So I bought it sealed on eBay. Now that I've got a little bit of money, I'm happy to have that in my collection finally. Going down, I have a couple of signed records, bands that I've met in person. Just really cool stuff for me. And then, hard to see, but I have an Oculus Quest there and an Oculus Quest here, so we do have two of them. It's a pretty big space, so sometimes we'll do like VR games together, my wife and I, or my nephews and I. And then something I got this year for Christmas was a Elegoo 3D printer, which I've used pretty extensively. You'll see some of that work on display, but to give you a quick view, like these are record holders that I've 3D printed, which is cool. And we do run a small homestead / farmstead, so these are my seeds. It's spring, so I'm planting a lot of stuff now. Then over to the game wall, so I'll kind of go left to right, but the top shelf I have every Funtastic system complete in box. Some Wii games. These Amiibo were recent ads this last year, 2024. I just decided I wanted to buy every Link Amiibo. I'm still missing like 2 or 3, but for the most part, got the Legend of Zelda set. GameCube games. And N64. N64 is my favorite system. And since my last video, I have alphabetized these, so yeah, should be a little bit easier to see. A couple call outs. I'll always call out Battletanks Global Assault. Honestly, it's my favorite multiplayer game on the N64, which I know with GoldenEye is maybe a bit of a heresy statement, but I really enjoy it. Got the Turok. So all the N64 games that have this red bottom here, these are like hard shell cases. Buy these at customgamecases.com. Everything else is complete in box. So like these two, you know, they're alphabetical, so they look a little odd, but fortunately I got a lot of my complete in box games back in like 2010, 11, before they got really expensive. And since then, because of the prices, I'm not really buying N64 games complete in box. I have about 100 games here, and I think it's probably about the 100 games that I want to own, so pretty happy with those. I'm kind of done with N64 at the moment. Below that, we have the NES, my first game system that I ever played. Mario 3 is my favorite Mario game. I know that's pretty common. Then below that, I've got some Atari 2600 games. Continuing up, the segment of my collection that grew the most in the last year was the Wii U. I don't know why, but I just got a bug to start collecting Wii U. And I got most of the heavy hitters. So, you know, Axiom Verge, I think there was 5,000 of those made. Book of Unwritten Tales 2, very expensive, very rare. Game & Wario, it's also kind of expensive. What else we got? Shakedown Hawaii, Shantae, Turbo Super Stunt Squad. That's an expensive Wii game. So, oh, and also, where is it? Devil's Third. I do have that sealed. I won't pull it out too far, but it is in a protective case. So, yeah, most of the high value Wii U games I still like the Wii U. You'll see shortly that I have it hooked up over there, but yeah. And then Twilight Princess, I got that at release. Yeah, really great Zelda game. Continuing down, some more amiibos, NES World Championships, and then my Switch collection. The reflection might not help, but I'll go through these slowly if I can. Love the Switch. Probably won't be buying the Switch 2 anytime soon. I've still got plenty of these games to buy or to play through. I'll talk a bit more about this later, but you'll see a lot of my games are still factory sealed. I'll explain why that is. But yeah, I think I'm close to 80 Switch games. I'd have to look at my sheet. Then some Super Nintendo games. One of my more nostalgic systems, I remember going to the video rental store and looking at Super Nintendo games back in the day. I'd like to expand that a bit more. Prices seem to have stabilized. We'll see. But most of the games I want to play are able to be emulated at this point. This was something I 3D printed. It was my first multicolor 3D print. I think it ended up pretty cool. So that kind of just goes on the shelf. Below that, we've got Sega Dreamcast, one of my favorite systems to collect for and also play. Great system. Always looking to add more. Below that, vinyl records, a lot of local bands, stuff I listened to in high school. I just like vinyl records. I like physical media, so kind of where we're at. Next segment of shelf, more N64s. I'll go around the couch and show you the rest of that, but here's some PS2 games. A lot of these are my originals that I had as a kid. These are my original GTA trilogy games that I've just never gotten rid of. And then PS5. Definitely my preferred console in this generation. And you'll see, again, quite a few of these are still sealed. Again, I'll explain kind of why that is. But PS4, one of my bigger collections. I have beaten most of these games at this point. My wife and I are going to be starting It Takes Two shortly, 2-player. But Dark Souls, Psychonauts, Resident Evil games, Final Fantasy. Great stuff. So we'll come around this way and I'll work my way in. So I found these at a local mall, a mall that has 5 people a month visit at this point. These are standees from the original Power Rangers. I have them wall mounted, but they do stand up. You can kind of see the cardboard that folds out. But when you look down, you know, Jason, original Red Ranger. And then I have Tommy, the White Ranger. The store had these for $50 each, and I see them much more expensive online. They did have a yellow and a pink Ranger, and I didn't pick them up at the time. I'm regretting that now. At some point, I'd like to get the whole group. So, but big fan of Power Rangers, season 1 and 2. Just kind of what I grew up with. And then we have some displays, so some of my favorite games slash franchises called out. So Dark Souls. There's a really cool Vader. Custom skateboard that my wife's company did a collaboration with. And Link from Legend of Zelda. Primarily Ocarina of Time. So from here we'll be getting into like the sitting area. Let me go across the top, I guess. So these are the Lego sets that I put together. Really like the old Star Wars stuff. Putting them on display. These are other things that I've 3D printed. So these little stands are plastic that I've 3D printed, which are awesome. Allows me to display these really well. So most of these I built in the last year. It's one of the big additions to the game room. I think they look cool. Yeah, who doesn't like Star Wars? Going down here, here's my like entertainment center. So we have 2 large tower speakers and then a center channel, 2 switches, a game that I'm playing at the minute, which is Zone of the Enders, my analog pocket, all my controllers. So these are Retro Fighters wireless controllers that go with the N64 down here. I do have the Analog 3D pre-ordered. That got delayed till July, I believe. And honestly, we'll see what happens with tariffs. That might, I don't know. I'm really excited for the system, and I hope it doesn't fuck up. I hope we still get that in the US. But I do have the dock for the Analog Pocket, which is pretty cool. And then I can just play my Game Boy games on the TV. Below that, I have my gold N64, Xbox Series X, and kind of the crown jewel of my collection that I got this year, the PS5 Pro 30th Anniversary Edition. So these are the numbered variants. I did not keep mine in box. I actually use mine, so not trying to scalp it for more money. It's my primary PlayStation, and I use it every day. But really happy to have that here. I mean, I could sell it for probably close to $3,000 at this point, but this might be the last PlayStation that I ever buy, considering I'm moving all digital. I'm not an all digital person. I like my physical media, so this might be it. And that's my hurrah purchase. So really happy to have that in the collection. I think there's 12,300 made. And then the Wii U, I do keep that hooked up, and I do play that pretty often. Below that, cassette and CD player, my head unit, and then a mini disc player. If anyone's old and you remember mini discs, I've got several from the early 2000s still. TV is a Samsung Q80T, about 5 years old at this point. I think we paid $3,000 for it when it first came out. Still a great TV. I know OLEDs are superior, but I have no real interest in getting rid of this at this point. Colors are really vibrant, 120 hertz, which is great for the PS5 and the Series X. So I'll be keeping this for probably another 5. I have really no intention of getting rid of it. And then continuing over, part of the anniversary edition was the DualSense controller. That's the case it comes in. And then I've got the DualSense here. Not sure what I feel about it. This is my first DualSense. I do like the trigger adjustments because I like a short pull. So, been trying that out with Oblivion. Yeah. And then I do have the original, or the standard 30th anniversary controller as well. Keep moving. Another Power Rangers poster. So I had this, not this exact one, but this poster on my wall when I was a kid in like 1993, 4 or 5. Got rid of it at some point in history. I don't remember when, but saw this come up on eBay and bought it. I remember being freaked out because it looked like their eyes were always following me. But yeah, happy to have this now. Like many kids, Kimberly was my first crush. And then a couple toys here. So we've got the Barad-dûr Lego set. My wife and I watch Lord of the Rings trilogy, the extended edition, every winter when it's freezing cold out. And this year we watched the trilogy and built the Barad-dûr set, which is totally awesome. I don't know if you can see it, but the eye lights up. So really happy to have that. It's expensive, but something we do once a year. Then a couple of toys from when I was a kid. My original Megatron. Below that, comic books. If you grew up in the 90s, you love comic books. These are all vintage stuff from back then. Old gaming magazines. I am from Michigan, so Detroit Lions. That's my Pokemon cards from when I was a kid. And you'll see the PS5 disc drive. Again, physical media person. I did put the disc drive on the PS5 Pro. And continuing up, again, more complete in-box consoles, controllers. Got the Red Wii. I don't have a GameCube, but the Red Wii is my GameCube when I want to play something. NES, my original Super Nintendo, which is exciting. That's not the original box, but I did buy a replacement box to put my Super Nintendo into. Some of my favorite PS1 games: Vandal Hearts, Final Fantasy VIII, Legend of Dragoon. And some of my favorite PS1 games. Right, sorry for the cut. Had to take a quick leak. Game Boy games. These are, with the exception of this, are games that I've had since I was a kid. So that's my original Pokemon Silver. I did buy Oracle Seasons last year and beat it on the Analog Pocket, which is cool. I'll be moving to Analog or Oracle of Ages next. E3 All Access. I think this is from 2004. Just crazy. Over 25 years ago at this point. No, 20 years ago. Xbox games, most of these are backwards compatible. I really only collect stuff that I can play on my systems via backwards compatibility. You'll notice I have no Series X games because anything I want to buy is on PS5. Series X is just a back compatibility machine. I do have a lot of the N64 controllers. 360 grew a lot this last year. You know, Oblivion Remastered just came out, so I don't really need to hold on to that one, but I'm going to just because I love it. And then hopefully Virtuous will do a Fallout 3 remaster. Some PC stuff. Did used to play World of Warcraft. I did play through Cataclysm, but that was kind of slowing down. Wrath of the Lich King is where I peaked. Played a enhancement shaman. Out DPS rogues all day. And then some just DVDs and Blu-rays that I've had or collected. Titan AE. Great movie. I've had that since I was a kid. And then Star Wars Episode 1, which if you turn around, look at that. Britney Spears. I got that out of a gumball machine in probably 1999. Put it on this. That's like the most 90s thing I could think of is a Episode 1 VHS with Britney Spears on it. And then Sega Genesis. This is a system I'm actively collecting for at the moment. Love the Genesis. And we do have a big sectional couch. It's my Great Dane, Liesel. She likes to sleep down here. My chair, and then we have a Lazy Boy pull-out. So lots of sitting area for when folks come over, have some beers, play some games. And yeah, this is a nice little spot. Continuing over, we do have a bar down here, so some stools, some personal pictures. I won't show those, like some liquor we have on hand. We don't mix liquor and pills. This just happens to be where they're stored at the moment. A 55-inch TCL TV. This was our primary, but is now the bar TV. And some pieces of Flair. Randy and his Gut. Signed by Pat Roach. And the bar does have a sink. So, what else? Do a bathroom. I won't go in there, but there's a bathroom in there. So as I mentioned, I'd talk about the sealed games. So I am almost 36, and I have some nephews that are like 7 and 8. So a lot of times what I'll do, and they have a Switch, is I'll buy games, play them, beat them, and then I'll give them to my nephews for their birthdays or Christmas or whatever. But I still like to collect the physical media. So I will buy another copy, a sealed copy after I've beaten it, and add it to the collection. So a lot of my games are because of that. I just keep them sealed after I've beaten them. I'm not opposed to opening any of them again and replaying. I don't try to keep sealed games, but that's just why I have sealed games, because I've probably beaten them and given them away. And then also I buy a lot of my games. I have an Amazon Rewards credit card, and I do not recommend buying video games on a credit card unless you are disciplined with it. So for me, I get about $80 a month back from just my general expenses, pay the credit card off, and I take that $80 and I'll buy, two $40 games or four $20 games, whatever the case is. So a lot of this collection was actually free. I've just gone slowly over the years. And there are times where like I'll buy games and I haven't played them yet too. So like Toomba, this is a limited run game. I haven't played that yet, but I do intend to play it. I have a 2-year-old daughter, so don't have a whole lot of time to play video games anymore. Maybe about an hour or two a night if I'm lucky. And I slowly work through these. But the intent is that I'll have these forever with the all digital future. I'm going to play through every one of these at some point. But I like physical media. There's something about it. I don't know about you or if you're old like me, but growing up in the 90s, you'd go to the store and you'd see the wall of video games. You'd be like, man, I wonder what all of these are. And you couldn't afford all of them. Video games are expensive now, but they were way more expensive in the 90s, especially when you were a kid. So like part of this just satiates a portion of me that grew up as a poor kid and didn't have access to a lot of these games, or had to rent most of them. I didn't own most of these games. And so, the Marie Kondo, I think that's her name. When you look at this, does it give you joy? When I look at this, it still gives me joy. At any point that it doesn't, I may consider selling. But right now, I'm loving it. And yeah, kind of my justification, I guess. Don't collect things because you feel like you need to. Collect things because you love them. And if you look at them and it makes you happy, keep them. If you look at them and you get stressed out over it, get rid of them. So yeah, this is kind of the Man Cave game room setup. It's grown a lot this year. Maybe the biggest year of growth, which I was not expecting in 2024, but still have some other plans. Like I said, I'd like to get rid of the foosball table and maybe put in a retro gaming center with like a CRT. We'll see. It's an option. Always collecting new games, although I am slowing down a little bit now that I've kind of got mostly what I want. I have just over 800 games total. There's other stuff I want to do. Again, I want to get the remainder of the Power Rangers standees and then maybe another disc plate or two just to kind of fill out that wall there. But ultimately, this is where I work. This is where I hang out. Again, it's my basement, so we do have a whole upstairs, but I guess one thing I haven't shown, these speakers, these are my rear channels, so I do have 5.1 surround sound. These are not the best speakers in the world. They are Bose, but the fact that they can be pivoted, right? Like these can be moved, has been really nice because we have a huge seating area. And the rear channels don't need to be super high fidelity, but it's nice because you can kind of angle them to face a wider rear seating area. And so that's what I ended up with. These will probably get replaced at some point, but I just like that I can, point them different places, kind of envelop this seating area. And again, I know the ceiling isn't the best place for rear channels, but again, I work here, so I don't really want them behind the couch. And at some point I'm going to run them through the ceiling, but for now that channel just holds the speaker wire. So yeah, always open to feedback. If you've got any thoughts, positive or negative, I don't take anything too personally. So let me know what you think. If you've got a game room tour, post in the comments. I'd love to check it out. I like this kind of stuff. So hope you all have a good one. See ya.